on time, I got to tell you that we have an amazing human about to join us. And it is a pleasure. That's a professional speaker talking. It is a pleasure to welcome the incredible, the amazing, the one, the only, the legend, Mr. Les, Amy Brown's little boy. Mr. Brown, how are you?
I'm blessed to be in the presence of your greatness. How are you?
I'm thrilled. And is that a rainbow behind you, Les?
Yes, absolutely. Rainbows are good luck.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
Well, we've been planning this for a while, and so what do you got to say for yourself? We're talking about opportunity and making a new beginning right now. What do you see going on right now in the world?
It's the best of times and the worst of times, and we have a choice. A lot of people are filled with fear. When fear shows up, one or two things happen. The majority of people, they look at fear, they listen to all of the advertising and the promotion of fear, and they run. But there are few people like you and the people that listen to you who face fear and rise. And that's where we are. That's what we have to do, because in the midst of all that's going on, we're in new territory. But personally, all of us have been in new territory before. When you marry someone, you're in new territory. When a doctor look at you like a doctor did with me 27 years ago and said, you got maybe a few months, we'll provide for you palliative care. I was in new territory when they told me that I had cancer. And that's the most feared word in 7 different languages. And I had to find out how was I going to deal with that. So it's about focusing your mind. It's very important. The people that are listening to us now, and that what you espouse is that it's easier said than done. Don't focus on where you are. Focus on where you're going, and what is it you have to do, and who is it you have to be to become the person that you need to become in order to navigate the turf where we are right now. And things are changing rapidly in the midst of all the stuff that's going on. At the top, from our leaders, which is they're in a state of chaos, from the media, and we have to anchor ourselves. We can't look outside ourselves. We have to anchor ourselves and do things to train our minds, to develop a level of resolve, focus, and perseverance to get through this, because this has not come to stay, it has come to pass.
That's well said. The challenge is like we're building houses on quicksand, is what it feels like.
Absolutely.
And the only constant is change. So we have to be adaptable. We have to be willing to accept. I mean, just putting this whole event together, same idea. And that adaptability is what keeps us sane. If the longer you try to the longer you try to control, it's sort of like what the beginning of Star Wars, when they said the longer you try to hold on to us, the more will slip through your fingers. And I'm saying that so badly, but that's the way I look at it. So Les, how do you cope?
You cope by not allowing yourself to make the choice to be consumed. And I said it's a choice. If you watch the media, you're going to be consumed with fear. But if you keep your eye focused on the things that you need to do to take care of yourself mentally, like when I got up this morning, I don't listen to the news. Whatever you listen to the first 20 minutes when you get up in the morning, it affects the spirit of your day. So I listen to motivational messages to program my mind and set my mind the way that I want it to go, in the direction that best served me. Fear does not serve me. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but a spirit of power and of love and of sound mind. So I listen to motivational messages when I first get up. I review the goals that I wrote down last night, the 7 things that I want to get out of today. And I write down 7 things that I'm grateful for. And after I do that, then I take off and start working on my list. my agenda for my life. If you don't have an agenda for your life, you're going to be a part of somebody else's agenda. So this requires discipline and requires focus, because where focus goes, energy flows. And we have never been in this place from in a variety of ways. Number one, yes, when we wake up in the morning, we're inundated with over 5,000 messages, various corporations and media competing for space in our minds. And so we have to take the position to be mindful and intentional to protect what gets in our ears and what we watch. We have the ability to choose the thoughts that we're going to dwell on. We can't control the thoughts that come into our minds, but we can control the thoughts that we dwell on. And right now, we have to be amped up and very dogged and determined to have an optimistic mindset and to embrace the reality that this has not come to stay, it has come to pass, and we will get through this.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about opportunity the whole time, and it's about being adaptable. But while this is a bigger sea change than we've seen in a long time, it's not the only one that is out there. I mean, the virus piece is pretty significant. We're comparing it to the Spanish flu and those type of things, which
no comparison. No comparison.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, I think we've dealt in the minor leagues for all of our lives. Whether it's being in a car accident, or whether it's being in traffic on the way to work, or whether it's your kid breaks his leg playing baseball or whatever. All those things are part of adaptability.
Yeah.
And those are the things I think that give us the resiliency to be able to deal with something like this now. But you hit on something that I think is critically important, and that really is controlling what you can control.
Yeah.
And you can control what you do, and you can control not news. You're going to say something. That's the one thing about when we're on video, we can't always tell what someone's going to say or do. But what you're doing, Les, with writing down your goals and writing down your achievements and so on is really, really critical. I've been doing the same thing, and it makes a massive difference in your soul. And I also want to encourage, by the way, our watchers, our viewers, our listeners, start taking some notes, tweet out some of the things you're learning, and write down those takeaways, because you're going to want to use those moving forward. Because what Les is saying right now is golden, and you're going to want to apply that. What would you say, Les? As you look down at your life, what do you think is the biggest lesson that people need to hear from you? If there's going to be a signature that you want to leave them with, what is it?
Make up your mind and commit yourself to live a life that will outlive you. I believe that Mark Twain said the two most important days in your life is the day that you're born and the day that you realize why you were born. And when we decide to live a life that will outlive us, we know it's this thing called life is not just about us. Horace Mann said it another way. He said we should be ashamed to die until we've made some major contribution to humankind. And Ken, you are that kind of person. The reality is that the program, your life, the things you've done, it reflects a person who has compassion and who has a vision of leaving the planet better than how you found it. And so when we make those type of ambitious commitments, we don't know how we're going to do it. We leave that up to God. We do the best that we can, and God will do that which we cannot. But they say, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And so we find some place where we take a stand and we take a bite.
It's true. Are you bigger than it, or is it bigger than you?
Right. Yes. And I read something today that's very real. Make your commitment greater than your excuses. That many people are living a life of mediocrity. because they have allowed their excuses to dominate them, to govern their behavior, to shrink their vision of themselves. Make your commitment more powerful than your excuses, because you can't fit a big dream into a small mindset full of excuses. Those of us that want to make a difference and to move forward and to grow through this experience rather than just go through it, we must be willing to commit ourselves to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. A lot of people are watching old boxing matches and old football games and baseball games and basketball games. My son, John Leslie, said, maximize your downtime. And he said, the reason they call it downtime, he said, that's when people engage in doing things that prevent them from going up. If we maximize our downtime, I've been working on my book for 22 years. I decided when coronavirus lockdown came about, I'm going to finish this book. And I got some help. I believe ask for help, not because you're weak, but because you want to remain strong, and ask for help and don't stop until you get it. So I completed it because that became my intention and my commitment, and I wouldn't allow anything to get in the place of that. The other thing is being consistent, that as we look at ourselves and look at where we are, we have to look beyond here and ask, where am I going? And who's going with me? The reason that most people never achieve their goals is because, for my belief, they have too many toxic, negative, energy draining people in their lives. And so you have to look at the people in your life and ask the question, who can I count on and who should I count out? There are a lot of people there when they need you, but when you need them, you can't find them. Mm-hmm. And so now you want to create and deepen your relationship with people that you know that you can count on, and create a mastermind or a team, if you will, of collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships that can take you in the direction of where you're going. You can't do it today solo.
Yeah, no, it's true, especially now. Especially now. We learn, I think, with this, that we're dependent on so many others, especially as we get of age. My mom is older than me. I'll leave it that way. She's watching. I can't disclose her age. And she's very self-sufficient, but at some point she may not be. At some point she may need people to help her.
Once a man, twice a child.
Yeah, yeah.
At 75, I'm not the man that I was when I was 25 or 35. 75, you lose some things. Betty Davis said, old age is not for wimps.
That is true. That is true. It's interesting though. I think that as we get older, I think we do have some extra wisdom, and I think we also learn that it's not as important to wonder what other people think about us anymore. If you're watching and you're stuck in the what will they think, at this point, who cares?
I read a book, Ken, and I'm sure you read it. The young lady's name escapes me, but the title of it was, "What You Think About Me Is None of My Spiritual Business."
Right. Right.
And so I had to learn that the hard way. I never forget a man who had a major impact in my life, and he was a mentor, and how people live their lives as a result, as you know, the story they believe about themselves. So when I was in the 5th grade, I was labeled educable mentally retarded and put back from the 5th grade to the 4th grade. I failed again when I was in the 8th grade. And so here I am in my junior year in high school, went in his room looking for a student. And he said, "Young man, go to the board and work this problem out for me." I said, "Sir, I can't do that. I'm not one of your students." He said, "Do it anyhow." And then the other students started laughing, saying, "He's got a twin, Wesley. He's Leslie. His brother is smart. He's DT." And he asked, "What's DT?" And they said, "He's the dumb twin." And they erupted in laughter. And I said, "I am, sir. And he came from behind his desk and he pointed at me. He said, "Don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality." In that moment, he interrupted and created a shift in my thinking. Mama said, "Sticks and stones can break your bones, but words can never hurt you." That's not true. Words can hurt, and very deeply. But on that day, he interrupted my vision of myself, my self-explanatory style. On that day, he opened my mind up beyond the words that have been spoken to me in the past, beyond my mental conditioning, and it gave me a new vision of myself. And I think that where we are is that adversity introduces a man to himself. Where we are right now, we have the opportunity to let this define us or to define ourselves. When the doctor looked at me 27 years ago and said that I had terminal cancer, had a choice. And what he did was, which was so shrewd, he said, "You have cancer. Your PSA is 2,400. 1 to 4 is normal. And it's metastasized to 7 areas of your body." And I smiled. He said, "Why are you smiling?" I said, "Hey, 7 is my lucky number." He said, well, it's gone to your spine. And he said that all we can do for you is palliative care. And at the time, I didn't know what that meant. But what got me was, I asked him, "Can we get a second opinion?" He said, "Yes, and you're ugly too." I said, "You didn't just call me ugly, did you?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Man, that's not nice. I can't believe you called me ugly." And then he interrupted our laughter. We both laughed, and he said, "And you got this. We determine the diagnosis. You and God determines the prognosis. You got this. You've got to make a radical change in your lifestyle, in your eating, your exercise, your mindset. You got this. You determine how long you're going to be here." And he gave me a watch with no hands on it. I said, "What am I going to do with this? I can't tell time." This says to you, when you look at it, you determine how long you're going to be here. You determine based upon your discipline, based upon your vision, based upon your commitment to a new lifestyle. And you talk about, it took less than 10 minutes and it changed the direction of my life. It changed me. And I'm still here 27 years later. And so we determine in the midst of Corona, not Corona, we determine how we're going to come out of this. We've got to be mindful. We've got to do the things that's necessary to keep us out of harm's way. I just came from a business meeting, my first business meeting. My kids got me out of the house because one of my kids didn't come for a meeting. And I called them. I said, "Look, I don't know how to meet anybody now. I'm not used to this. This is my first outing." And so Calvin said, "Dad," he said, "don't get too close to him. Just do an elbow bump." I said, "Okay." And he said, "Then walk back 6 feet." I said, "Okay." So here we are in the lobby of this hotel, the Renaissance Hotel, the huge hotel, only 6 occupants there. And we're seated 6 feet from each other. And we're talking about a business deal. Okay. I said, "You know what? I'm interested in being in business with you, but I'm not dying to be in business with you." So we're going to have to get to the bottom line quickly and keep your distance from me. Okay. Can you feel it, brother? Up in here, up in here. And we worked it out. And I left as quickly as I possibly could.
It's a new time now. I mean, it's completely about it being adaptable right now. And just what we're doing right this minute. For a lot of us, we've been virtual for a long time. I've been virtual for, my gosh, 8-9 years now when I left Atlanta. And now it's like people ask, like, where do I live? I'm like, well, this week I live in Sydney. I'll be here for a while because I can't leave. Like, but really, but the funny thing is that when I will tell people that, I traveled the whole last year. I had a rollerboard and a backpack. That was it. And people couldn't understand that. They're like, but where's home? I'm like, well, right now it's here. It's this hotel. We have to be adaptable like that. We have to be willing to do that. And when the crap hits the fan, then yeah, we just do a Les Brown laugh. We should actually have a competition for a Les Brown laugh this weekend, guys.
I enjoy life so much. A lady told me, she came to one of my meetings, and I saw her. She looked familiar, but I wasn't sure. And she said, "Do you remember me?" I said, "I'm not sure. I just have a feeling I've seen you before, but I'm not sure where." Well, when I saw her, she was made up, quite made up differently. She was the lady of the evening. Oh. And so I was going to speak at the Caleb Auditorium. And I said, how would you like to come to the meeting where I'm going to speak to? I'm going to be speaking on living your dreams so that you can leave this corner and never have to sell your body again. And she said to me, how would you like to go to hell? And I say, wow! Oh my God! I laughed all the way across the street. I said, thank you for that. And she was laughing too. And she said to her friend, she said, boy, he's got a funny laugh. And so, unbeknownst to me, she came to my meeting. And she came to 4 of them. I was doing a series. She came to 4 straight weeks. And at the end, it was called 4 Steps to Greatness. And at the end of it, she came up to me. She said, I'm Patricia that you spoke to. You didn't know my name, but I was made up quite differently. And she showed me a picture. And she said, thank you to introducing me to my real self. And we both cried together. And so we all have, I believe, the opportunity to make impact in people's lives. I have hot flashes from the cancer medication that they have me on. And I used to tease my mother and my sister about hot flashes. I call them power surges. But when we look at this thing called life, Viktor Frankl calls it that it's unavoidable suffering. We want to always go through some stuff. We're going to always have to deal with some stuff. Think it not strange that you'll face the fiery furnaces of this world. You will, not you might, you will have tribulations. And so when I look at where I am at this point in my life, at 75, and I have more years behind me than I have before me, my goal is to live life just like you. And the way that you live your life, from my estimation, is like Helen Keller. She said, life is either a daring adventure or it's boring. And most people live boring lives. Most people are not flexible and adaptable and versatile and willing to find a way to make things work for them. And that's their choice. That's their choice. To me, he who has ear, let him hear. I remember reading a book called The Kabbalion, and there was a line in there that I remember said, the lips of the wise are sealed to the ears of the ignorant. And so to me, I think that we have to be not just the messenger, but the message and how we live our lives. And this opportunity that you created, this broadcast, to interrupt people's thinking, to let them focus on themselves, to inspire them to go within rather than living their lives from without and being consumed with fear. To see this as an opportunity, it's a crisis. Crisis means danger and it means opportunity. An opportunity to rethink your life, an opportunity to reset your life, an opportunity to refuel, to begin to readjust and begin to look at upgrading where you are in terms of how you see yourself and how you're going to move forward. We're in that place where Einstein said, the thinking that has brought me this far has created some problems that this thinking can't solve. And so now we have to ask ourselves, where am I going? That's one. Number two, who am I? To get grips with that, to do some thinking. Socrates said, the unexamined life isn't worth living. And then, where am I going? And who's going with me? And those two questions, where am I going and who's going with me? And Dr. Howard Thurman, who was a mentor of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Albert Schweitzer, he said, if you ever get those questions in the wrong order, you'll be in serious trouble.
It's true.
Yeah. And so this is a time we have to look at our relationships and ask the question, as Jim Rohn would say, what is this relationship doing to me? Am I growing mentally and emotionally and spiritually? Am I becoming a better person because of this relationship? There's some people that are always there when they need you, but when you need them, you can't find them. And so you have to ask, is this relationship an asset or is it a liability? Is this somebody that I can count on, or this somebody that I know I need to count out?
I agree. And I think all of us kind of do too. It seems just recognizing the enthusiasm that we're seeing here on the chat that's going on the side, this conversation like that's just nonstop. The Les Brown fan club is in the house right now.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, absolutely. They'll want to like autograph the screen right now.
Oh, thank you.
But I will give you a little bit of feedback, Les, that you need to understand. And that is that you're still a youngster.
Oh, I accept that. Yes.
Just, you're still a kid. And I was with a woman. Well, that's another conversation altogether. But I was with a woman who the other almost a year ago now, I guess. At that time, she was 107 years old.
Mm.
She is now 108. She's still going. And she's going. She has her little iPad and she tells dirty jokes. And she asked me to marry her. She did. She marry her.
Well, not because we asked not. Come on, dog.
Hey, I said yes. I said yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then 30 minutes later, she said, who asked who? And I told her, she said, well, then forget about it. If you didn't ask me, then the hell with you. and I said to her, Les, we are over time. They're keeping us to watch our time. But I asked her, said, what's the best part of your day? What do you look forward to? She said, waking up.
That's right.
Waking up.
If you ask me how I'm doing, I will tell you it's the best day of my life. And the reason I say that, if you open your eyes and there's not a chalk outline around your body, it's the best day of your life. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I am with you. Mr. Les Brown, you are a treasure. You are an absolute treasure. And when everyone heard you were going to be with us, it was like, oh my gosh. So I want to tell you how grateful I am to you for being here. You're a busy guy these days. And I'm thrilled to call you friend, mentor, coach.
I felt a special connection with you when we met, and I'm so excited, and I'm looking forward to doing some things with you in the future. I'd like to invite your viewers to get my book. Go to I Am Hungry, Les Brown. My book is entitled You've Got to Be Hungry.
That's it. That's what I was waiting for.
Yeah. So get my book. Go to I Am Hungry, Les Brown. And we have over $500 worth of motivational videos that we download through a QR code in the book. So it's going to make a difference in their lives. And we're going to do some ongoing coaching with people who get the book. But I want to thank you so much for who you are and for your making the commitment, as I have decided to do, to live a life that will outlive me. And I know your mother's proud of you. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
And to you too, my friend. Everybody, let's hear for Les Brown, just so you can clap at home and you can pop it in. Mr. Brown, you're awesome. We will talk next week.
Okay.